Yep. Hello, how are you?
All right, fantastic. Well, I am doing well, actually. Um, keep myself busy during my job hunting days, which is interesting, right? Looking for a job
Yeah.
right now, and I'm still working like 10-hour plus days, so
Oh
it's
my
cool.
gosh.
Part
Yeah.
of me is a little worried, like, oh man, am I going to get bored and have nothing to do? But no, but at least at this point, it's not a problem. Maybe if I slow down a bit, but
Yeah.
point, no signs of slowing. I always hope when I get my next job to give me like a couple of days so that I can like drop the job
Just
search,
relax.
take a few days, go hike in the mountains before I start my
Yeah.
next job. Because right now, like I said, I'm still hustling. All right. So, anyways, today we're talking about video email, and in particular, what you mentioned on Morgan's Ingram's post that we kind of connected on was that it's really hard to get people to watch the video, right? And then it's hard to
Yes.
stop yourself from rambling on and going on too long, right? And
Yeah.
I definitely identify with both of those things. Just for, I guess, some context, how long generally are the videos that you send?
I would say 30 seconds to 45 seconds,
Cool,
maybe a minute if there's something I really need to talk about, but
cool.
not too long.
All right. And you're a business development representative, so these are going
Mhm.
out cold to people who don't know you yet, right?
Yeah, correct.
All right. And just from the brief research I did in advance, it looks like Alice is, well, I'll let you describe Alice yourself. I'm sure you'll do a better job than I.
Yeah, so we're a personal experience platform, so that's why video is super important because it's like I want to be personal. It's hard to, like in sales, to just break through that noise. So,
Yeah.
along with using Alice, we're trying to get into the video, and I am just trying to pack a punch with those videos.
Yeah. Well, and the whole idea behind Alice, right, is that what you're sending is truly
Yes,
personalized and meaningful, right? Rather than
exactly.
just
Yeah.
sending some generic swag that you send to
Hmm.
500 people.
Exactly.
And interestingly to me, I see a strong correlation there, right? Where sending out generic swag with like pens and your company logo on it is what most salespeople do that people are tuned out to. There's a parallel to
Hmm.
that and generic templated sales emails that are not really personalized that their email
Exactly.
inbox is filled with. So, you know,
Hmm.
video email takes that to the next level and takes your emails to make them personalized, human, and tailored. And of course, Alice does the same thing with the physical items that you're sending to make them personalized.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
makes sense. Okay. I'm curious, in a cold email, have you ever like drawn that analogy in one of your videos and kind of said, hey, what a regular cold email is to my video, that's what Alice is to traditional swag that you send?
No, but that's a interesting thought.
Yeah, right. I figure it'd be
Yeah.
like maybe like a closing remark, right? So you open it
Yeah.
up, get their attention, something personalized, and then say, oh, by the way, you know,
Yeah.
this is
I
what
mean,
you're
that's
feeling now is what people feel times 10 when they get something from Alice.
yeah, exactly. So it's not super. I don't think we've done that directly, but yeah, we've tried. We're like, hey, break the noise. Here's
Yeah.
something for you. So, or like, especially being able to hit people with like, hey, I noticed that you ski and I ski too, or I snowboard, but
Yeah.
like, let's talk about it or whatever. So that's really cool to be able to talk to people about what they like outside of work as well.
Yeah. Now, I'm just this is a little bit off topic, but I really am just curious here. How do you learn these things about people? Just is there something about Alice that tells you that, or do you do your own research to learn these things about
So
people?
before Alice, I used to do my own research and then it would take forever.
Yeah,
But we have AI, so now you're able to use that Alice platform to get that AI and then find that information out.
that's cool. Yeah, because I've like in attempts to personalize my own emails, right? A lot of times I've gone looking for stuff like that, and nine
Yeah.
times out of 10, you can't tell if somebody skis or snowboards or is a surfer or something. You just can't tell
Yeah.
when you're doing research. So okay, it's good to know. All right, so I think the first thing we're going to talk about is getting the email opened.
Hmm.
Because if the email never gets opened, it doesn't matter if there's a video in there, right?
Exactly.
It's email.
Yeah.
So, in my experience, there are three reasons why people open an email. And every time I've ever opened an email or had one of mine opened, I'm fairly confident it falls into these three buckets. So, the first reason, and probably the most powerful reason people open an email is because of who sent it, right? There are some people whose names, it doesn't matter what they send you. If you see their name and it's an email, you're going to open it. And
That's
by,
true.
the flip side of that, there are some senders that you have learned long ago. If I see an email coming from this company, I'm just deleting that crap. I know it's not relevant.
Yeah.
Now, with an individual email, there's nothing you can do to affect that variable. But if you're going to be running like a campaign or a sequence, keep that in mind, right? If you're creating good, relevant, interesting emails, you'll probably see that your open rate stays consistent throughout the campaign. Some people even see it go up, but it really stays consistent or close to consistent throughout the campaign. Where if you're sending crappy emails, you'll see that, open rate just plummet. right? I've seen some really crummy campaigns where the open rate started like 30% and ended at like 8%, right? Because people learned quickly, okay, these emails are pointless. Where I've done a few well-constructed campaigns in my time where, open rate started at 44% and ended at 39%, right? It pretty much stayed level, even if there's a little drop off. And I've seen some customers who had a small uptick in theirs. So write good emails. The golden rule here is that before you send any email, you've got to ask yourself the question, will they be glad they received this? And, by extension, glad they opened it. And if there's a video in there, they'd be glad they played it. Because basically, if they're glad they took that action, the next time you give them a chance to take that action, they'll take it, right? Or they're more likely to. But if they take that action of opening your email or playing your video and they realize it was a waste of their time, they're probably not going to give you that second chance. So don't send an email, don't send a video if there's not some reason the recipient's going to be glad they received it. Maybe it's some useful information, maybe it's some entertainment, right? Maybe it just brings a smile to their face. There's a lot of reasons they might be glad they received an email, but make sure they're glad they received your email. Otherwise, you probably shouldn't send it. All right, so that's reason number one, people open emails, right? Again, because of who sent it. So keep in mind in your longer campaigns to pay attention to that. Second reason people open an email is when it shows up in their email inbox and they kind of skim it real quick, they have reason to believe there's going to be something valuable in there for them. Because basically, when you're looking through your email inbox, the silent voice in the back of everyone's head is asking the question, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? And some emails clearly answer that question. Ooh, there's something in this email for me, open. And a lot of emails clearly answer that question to, no, there's nothing in this email for me. But the subject line and kind of by extension, the pre-header text as well, basically need to answer the question, what's in it for me? If you can answer that question, at least, you don't have to answer it exactly, but as long as you can give them a reason to believe there's something valuable in there for them, they're much more likely to open it. And the third reason I see emails get open, it's just good old-fashioned curiosity, right? Human beings are curious by nature. I would suggest not leaning too heavily on the curiosity card because lazy marketers and clickbaiters have used curiosity alone for a long time and we're kind of growing immune to it. But it can be an effective element when used correctly. So, for example, a curiosity-only subject line might sound like, did you know, ... Triggers a curiosity, but it doesn't really answer the question, why is this email going to be valuable to me, right? It's overplaying that curiosity card a bit. Again, typically that comes across as clickbait. So you generally want to add at least a little substance to the subject line. Now, some subject lines that I've done are very much just, don't even have a lot of curiosity. They're just focused on, here's what's in it for you. And those are okay. At my last company, one of my responsibilities was to get people who had a free trial of our software to engage with me and have a conversation with me, right? And one of the ways that I can help people is by giving them feedback on their videos. So there's an email I constructed where I offered to give them feedback on their videos. And the subject line I used was, I can give you feedback on your videos. Not a ton of curiosity there. It's pretty direct. Here's what I can do for you. Here's what this email is all about. But it was very clear on the what's in it for you, right? If somebody saw that subject line and they didn't have any videos or they didn't want feedback, they wouldn't open that email, and that's fine because they wouldn't find that email valuable anyways. But if they did have videos, if they did want feedback, they would see that subject line and they'd light right up, right? And they'd open it. So those are the two elements, curiosity and, again, what's in it for me, answering that question. And again, if you can weave the two together where you give them a reason to believe that this email might be valuable to them, but you still leave a lot unsaid and you kind of leave some mystery in there, sometimes that can be helpful and kind of be the perfect combination of a subject line. Does that make sense? All right. So I think the next thing is getting them to watch the video, right? Because that's what you said, is how to get people to watch the dang video. One of the things, you do want to keep the video short as possible, and it sounds like you are keeping it short, right? 30 seconds, 45 seconds, that's best. There are some services out there that, like, when the video is displayed in their email inbox, it has the timestamp written on it, and it says, like, play 1 minute video or something. But there are a lot of services that don't have that. I would say that if the service you're using does not have that ability, it might be a good idea to maybe somehow work that into the text. Like, hey, I made you a quick 45-second video to explain that. Because typically if people don't know how long a video is, they're going to assume it's a long video, and they'll assume they don't have time for it, and they'll say, I'll get to this later, right? And of course, later comes and goes and they never do anything. So yeah, you want to make sure that the time is in there and mentioned. You can just mentioned offhand. It doesn't have to be like something you make a big deal about. But what's interesting here is that the same principles drive playing the video as drove opening the email, right? Again, number one variable, who's sending it, and has this person sent me valuable videos before? If you sent them valuable videos before, they're more than likely to give you the benefit of the doubt and watch this one. If you sent them boring, time-wasting videos before, they're more than likely not going to trust you to send a good video, and they probably won't watch it. So that's number one factor. Second factor is, do they have reason to believe this video is going to be worth their time to watch, right? And then third factor is just curiosity, right? Are you leaving stuff unsaid? Are you kind of creating a mental itch in their brain that they want scratched? And to scratch that is, they got to watch your video, right? One way I like to put it. So what that means is that you need to write a supporting body of text below. Doesn't have to be much, but just something to trigger their curiosity, where you say, hey, here's why I'm reaching out and here's what's in this video, right? Something pretty basic like that. And again, you do want to leave a lot unsaid. Still leave a lot of unanswered questions in their mind, right? I've seen some people take it the opposite direction and write too much in the body of the email. And they literally write out, here's who I am, here's who I represent, these are the problems we solve, this is what I can do for you, here's the next step I want you to take. And that's a complete closed loop, right? That is all the information they need. There's no curiosity to drive them to watch the video. So you do want to leave a lot unsaid, but again, you got to answer the what's in it for me question. So in the context of cold prospecting, what I found is most helpful with this is to have both pain and promise in there. So every time you write an email, you should be focused on one particular pain point you know your customers have. And the very first sentence of your email highlights that pain point. Hey, a lot of people in your role struggle with X, Y, and Z. And maybe you can expand that and say, which causes A, B, and Z problems. But one sentence, maybe two sentences if it's good, highlighting what problem you're about to solve. And again, if they don't identify with that problem, they can move right along, and that's okay, because they wouldn't like your video anyways. But if they identify with that problem, if they do go through that, it'll try to trigger their interest. Then the next sentence, you make some kind of a promise to them saying, hey, I've worked with some companies in the past, and we've actually found ways to work around that and get to this result. More details in my video. So again, you're making a promise that there's something in this video you'll find interesting, right? So answering the what's in it for me question, but you're not really saying too much, right? Because again, if you say too much, there's no more curiosity. They feel like they don't need to watch the video. Quick side note here, a lot of this stuff that I'm sharing here, I originally kind of picked up from working with Jason Bay from Blissful Prospecting. So if you like what I'm saying here, check out Blissful Prospecting, Jason Bay. You'll hear similar stuff from him because he was one of the guys who taught me on this stuff. I put my own spin to it, of course, but a lot of this came from him. Anyways, that aside note is done. So pain and promise. And then, of course, when they watch your video, you give them that little bit of information. You give them a little bit of brief overview as to what you did and how you helped, right? You mentioned personalized gifts. You mentioned targeting people's 5 to 9 life rather than targeting their 9 to 5 life, right? Mm-hmm. But ultimately, you still leave a lot unsaid, right? Really, you want to give them some information. You want to make good on your promise that you made in the text to tell them something in the video they didn't already know. But you still want to leave them wondering, but how? But tell me more, right? In your video. Which of course drives them to schedule a meeting with you or respond to your email, or really drives that next action. One of the ways that I found to visualize this that can be really helpful is the job of the subject line and the typed up text is to open a loop in somebody's mind, right? To put it another way, create a curiosity gap, the gap between what they know and what they want to know. When there's that gap, it's uncomfortable and people act to close that gap. And again, that's kind of how I think with a loop, right? An open loop that people want to close to get closure. The job of subject line and the type of text is to open that loop and make people realize they have a problem, make people realize there's a potential solution for it, but ultimately make them get this itch, right, to know what it is and know what you have to say. And then the job of the video is to close that first loop, make good on your promise, scratch that itch for them, give them the information they needed, but then open up a new loop of some other things they might not know and how much more there is to this topic that they hadn't thought of before. And then the only way to close that loop is to take the next action, schedule a meeting, reply to the email, call me, whatever your next action is. So that is kind of from beginning to end, right? How you get to open the email because of who's sending it, curiosity, and what's in it for me. Then the body of the email, mention pain, mention a promise. And ultimately what you're doing is the same thing as the subject line. You're giving them a reason to watch the video and you're triggering some curiosity. Then they watch the video, you close that loop, answer that question, scratch that itch, and then you open up a new loop. And then invite them to have a conversation with you to close that new loop. So that's the best pattern I found for it, right? Now, execution, right? We have a little bit of time left here, so I think we can probably work on creating an actual email. So what is one of the specific pain points you guys solve for people? A daily frustration that your prospects go through that once they start working with you, is no longer a problem for them?
Booking more meetings. It's pretty general, but booking more meetings.
Right. So they want to book more meetings. So I guess a specific pain point there is they send stuff
Not enough ops or something.
and it lands on deaf ears.
Yeah.
Okay. You send with no response. That's the pain you solve for them. So we want to create a subject line that kind of references that pain. And again, answers the what's in it for me question, probably creates a little bit of curiosity. Any thoughts for a subject line kind of related to you solving the pain of sending without getting a response?
Oh, geez. Something about this is probably hitting your like deaf ears too, or something like that.
Making the point that your email is as likely to be responded to as their email. Or even just cold emails land on deaf ears could be a good subject line. Trying to think if we can add some curiosity, some flair to that. This may even be playing dirty a little bit, but it might work. So maybe the subject line is 6 emails and no response. Now, this is going to light up curiosity in their mind because they're going to think for a second, oh God, did I miss 6 emails from this person? Are they upset at me? Right? And then of course you open your email with, hey, we've probably all been in this scenario as sellers. You send 6 emails to a prospect, you've got no response. You're trying to figure out what is the next thing I need to do to break through. Here at Alice, we work with a few clients who have been in that exact situation and they've gotten, up to 80% success rates. Watch my video to learn more. So that subject line, 6 emails and no response. Again, it almost seems a little bit tricky because some people are going to see that and think, oh God, what did I do wrong, right? But it's not actually dishonest. Once they read the body of the email, it actually does connect quite well. So then the body of the email is something to the effect of, many sellers have been in this situation and 6 perfectly crafted emails. Any response, and I'm wondering how to break through. So that's the pain, right? So that's the first sentence. You are highlighting a pain. If they don't resonate with that, if they always get responses back to their cold emails, they don't need Alice. So they can just move right along and not watch your video, and that's cool with you. However, if they have been in a situation, if they do struggle with that, it'll pique their interest. And you got to make some kind of promise. Do you have any kind of stats that you like to share about like response rates or results or anything like that you've gotten for other companies? Maybe a case study that you've done?
Yeah, we could do like get 5 to 10% open rate on, or 5 to 10% conversion rate.
Conversion rate?
I'd have to think on that. I might have to look for some more stats on that.
Cool. Yeah, so I would say, insert some stat as your promise. Such as, I've helped other companies in, their industry that as high as a 5 to 10%. Or again, 80% response rate or whatever kind of stat you can throw in there. And then again, you just kind of leave it off with more details in the video.
Gotcha.
And then in the video, you share that statistic. You mention briefly what Alice is about, right? Enough for them to answer the question, what does this company do? So this is kind of your elevator pitch. And you say, this is what we do, this is why it's unique, and this is the kind of results it gets. So again, you are answering the question of how, And again, like we said, mentioning the, focus on the 9 to 5 or the 5 to 9 versus the 9 to 5, AI that does research to learn more things about your prospects than you could ever find on your own, and custom tailored gifts that they're going to remember and use over and over again rather than just wasted swag that goes in the trash.
Yes.
But again, try to leave some curiosity there. And you'll have to play with that balance to figure out how much you say in the video and how much you leave unsaid. What kind of testing do you let people do with Alice? Is there any sort of a free trial with Alice people can do or anything like that?
No, we do not have trials as of right now, but
yeah.
I do have a quick question.
Yeah, go for it.
I do have a quick question for you. What's like the wildest, crazy? I mean, I've seen like a couple of things of like people wearing T-Rex outfits and stuff in their videos. What's the wild and craziest thing that you've done or like you've seen that has gotten really good attention?
I've done videos with my cats in them and I'm petting the cat. I've done videos with my daughter sitting on my lap and kind of done the video like that. I've seen some videos where the screen starts off empty and then like two guys, I think it was like, I don't remember where in their sales process it was, but it was like the AE and the BDR in a sales transaction, like jumped into the frame and like air high-fived each other and then like turned to the camera and started doing the video. Something which I don't know if it's totally wild and outlandish, but is ridiculously effective is using a screen recorder, right? So most of these video email sending tools out there like Vidyard or Loom or BombBomb have an option to record your screen and send that off. So what a lot of people do is they'll find something on a prospect's LinkedIn page or website that's interesting and unique and worth starting a conversation. And what they can do is do a screen recording over that and say, hey, I noticed X, Y, and Z on your LinkedIn page, and that made me think you might want to talk to me. What's cool about this is that assuming you're using a tool that gives you an animated preview, right? A lot of tools give you an animated preview. I'm using Vidyard currently, and they have to give that option. But again, there are others too. When you send somebody this video, when they open up their email inbox, what they see sitting in their email is like a little video scrolling up and down on their LinkedIn page and maybe highlighting a block of text on their LinkedIn page or something. And most people at that point, the curiosity factor goes through the roof. They're like, dude, what are you doing on my LinkedIn page? And why are you highlighting that, recommendation that was left for me, right? But what you can do is you can highlight something and kind of use their words and say, hey, I noticed here on LinkedIn that you described yourself as blank, blank, blank. Well, if you really value those things like you say you do, you might be interested in a tool like Alice, right? Or I noticed here that a customer left a review for you. And one of the things this customer said about you was blank, blank, blank. But they'll never get to know that if they never get to actually talk to you. So maybe if you could break the ice through a tool like Alice, they could experience some of that blank, blank, blank. And that may make them want, right? Something like that, where you do some like customized research on them and their company, talk about their values, talk about their personality trait, and try to draw a parallel for them between what you offer and what their style is, right? That sometimes is very effective, even more effective than this, template. What's nice about this template I'm teaching you is that you can pretty much plug and play for everyone, right? Like this can be used for everyone, which makes it very scalable and very quick to use an email template like this. But if you do them truly personalized.
For those videos, do you make a personal video for each person, or are you just sending the same video to everyone? I've
done both, depending on like the value of the deal I'm chasing down. I will say this template is built so that you don't need to personalize it. You can take this exact same template and send it out to everyone. Now you might want to customize the text a little bit. Part of what I wrote up here is like going to mention, I've helped other people in the manufacturing industry, right? So you have to customize the text just a little bit, but like the video itself can be the same. 90% of the text can be the same. Honestly, if you word it correctly, 100% of the text could be the same, which means you could set this up in an automated tool like Outreach or SalesLoft and just have this run automatically for you. Personally, in the jobs I've done, I've never been like chasing down whale accounts that are worth the effort, right? I'm chasing down, trout at best. So for me, what I've always done is had a truly automated sequence built out through Outreach, fully automated, it runs through. And then I watch the tracking because Outreach tells you when people click your links and when they watch a video, it registers as a link click. And then anybody who watches my video, I'll do personalized outreach to them, personalized research, send them a LinkedIn connection request, text them, call them, customized email. Like I'll do the whole 9 yards for people who watch a video. Because remember, my emails that I'm kind of, teaching the pattern for here are very focused on specific pains. And they're very direct about what is involved, why you should watch this video. So generally speaking, if somebody watches one of these videos, that is a pretty strong indicator they struggle with that pain and are looking for a solution. So if I know
Okay.
going into it, this person struggles with this pain, I know I got a good win probability. I know they're in the right mindset. I know that because they watched this last video and had a good experience with it, they're more likely to watch my next video. I know it's worth my effort. So for me, I've always started fully automated and then used personalization for the people who clicked and watched. I know in some businesses where you're looking to land larger accounts and you have a
Hmm.
smaller, uh, pool of people you're going after, it's better to start with the personalized and only resort to automated as kind of a last ditch effort after your personalized has failed. But these emails are written in such a way you can do both.
Okay, cool. That's good insight to know. Cool.
All right. So I've been making notes here. I'm going to send you like this email afterwards, right? It's
Oh,
kind of like the
perfect.
template we
Okay.
worked up. Obviously, there's a lot of blank spaces that still have to get filled
Hmm.
in, but just as a base for you. But again, this follows the pain and promise pattern. All you got to do is put in like a 30-second video or at most a 1-minute video that
Hmm.
describes what you do and invites them to take the next step. All right, so that's all I really had to cover. Any questions you want to cover before we wrap up?
I think I asked most of them. One of them is what other, like obviously you can use this as door openers, but how would you implement this throughout other parts of the sales process? Like
Yeah.
someone, I don't even know. Yeah, how have you used it throughout your sales process?
So there's a handful of things. Since you are a BDR, I imagine you pass these leads off to an AE when you set the meeting.
Hmm.
And I suggest using a video for that. Now, you could just do a video of you, say, hey, I'm about to hand you off to Andrew, so expect an email from him. If it's possible, though, to get you and Andrew in the same location, you can do a video together. I've seen a lot of these videos. The company I used to work at did that, where the BDR and the AE would be like, hey, I just had the meeting with you, but he's the guy you're going to be talking to. And it makes it a nice warm handoff. Pre-meeting videos are really good. So if in your role you schedule a quick little 10-minute call to talk to someone before you send them to the AE, it might be a good idea to send a video email and say, hey, Jasmine, just a quick reminder, we're going to be talking at 12 p.m. Eastern today. Just a quick little 10-minute chat, nothing too serious. So make sure you're by your phone around 10 o'clock Eastern and we'll talk then. Right, little videos like that before scheduled meetings. Certainly after scheduled meetings, again, this kind of gets usually into more of the AE role, but after you've had a scheduled meeting with somebody, you can send a recap video afterwards. Something I found a lot of value in is when I'm on LinkedIn. Of course, I connect with as many prospects as I can through LinkedIn. And then from time to time, I'll come across my prospects' content in my feed. And of course, leaving a comment is nice. But you can take that a lot further if you record a personalized video email and say, hey, Jessica, I just noticed your company got rewarded for blank, blank, blank. That is so cool. I tell you, I've been following your company for a few months now, and I'm continually getting impressed by what you guys are doing. I'm curious, though. And then you ask an open-ended question to get the conversation started. And at this point, it's purely social. There's no sales involved. You're just trying to start a conversation, build familiarity, so that then maybe a week or a month later, you can send them a sales-related message, and it'll actually get a response. Same thing when you log into LinkedIn and it says, hey, congratulate Rodney on 8 years at his company. Send a personalized video email saying, congratulations, Rodney. What's your favorite thing about what's your favorite thing about working at your company? You've been there 8 years. You obviously like it. And again, you can get conversation started that way. Oh, looks like you're muted. That's strange. I still don't hear you. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a little bit delayed, but it's getting through.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome ways to use that. I'm excited to try that LinkedIn way. I never thought about. That's one thing I've been trying to figure out too, is how to engage in those natural conversations through LinkedIn without just being like, hey.
Yeah, it really helps when people post content. You can start conversations around their content. A lot of people don't, which does make it difficult. But again, the birthdays and anniversaries that LinkedIn notifies you are good. And again, anytime they do post content, it's good to reach out about that as well.